So my solution to that, if you want to permanently close the door to young people, I will stand in front of the door, take a sledgehammer and bang that damn door open, right? I mean, it's either bang it open or I'll kick the door open. And if I fail, at least I leave a crack at the door and someone else who's younger will come and kick it open.
Hey guys, so today we're at another episode of Humans of KL's interviews, and we have a very special guest today. For years, I've been trying to get him to join our platform and tell his story, but finally we managed to catch up with the famous Syed Saddiq.
Thank you very much, Mosh.
Nice to finally have you here on board with us. So, okay, let's get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, introduction?
My name is Syed Saddiq. I'm currently 31 years old, two-term Member of Parliament of Muar. Former Minister of Youth and Sports. I was born in Johor. Mother being a teacher, father being a labourer who commuted from Johor to Singapore every day. I'm the youngest among 4 siblings. Went through public education throughout my life, whether it's from primary school, secondary school, graduated from a local university, IIUM, for my law degree, and then was lucky enough to be able to get my academic fellowship in Temple University, United States. And then my public policy studies in NUS, National University of Singapore. And then, before I jumped into politics, I had the absolute privilege of doing something which I love, which is to teach. I was the youngest part-time lecturer in IIUM. I had the privilege of traveling to more than 25 countries to teach debating and public speaking. Then I was traveling 2 to 3 countries a month, and it was extremely joyful. And I was able to do a kind of politics which I love, which is being not in front but at the back. I was a researcher for a think tank under the Johor State Government. I was a part-time special officer to a minister. So yeah, that was the days before I joined full-time frontline politics.
Can you share a little bit about your upbringing and what early experiences actually helped shape you to become who you are, and that the fact that you want to serve Malaysians?
Yep. I grew up in Johor. Having a very strong mother in my family definitely shaped who I am today. Valuing women, especially from a working class family. One vivid memory which has shaped who I am today, which is on public service, came from my mum. Because my mum served throughout her life as a teacher until the day of retirement. And she's not just a normal teacher. She teaches English, Bahasa, at the same time has her own tuition class, not the fancy tuition center, the small tuition room at our house, which I don't know if you've went through those kind of tuition classes, which, I see that on the day-to-day basis at my house, which my mom organizes. But one vivid memory is that when I was accompanying my mum back from school, because I went to my mum's school as well, my mum will always stop at Caltex nearby. And this is not to fill up her petrol or to buy groceries, nothing. But she'll stop almost every day at Caltex to see if there are any young students who are there to sell goods. Actually it's illegal, you can't do that. But I think then anything goes. Because these are clearly people from underprivileged backgrounds who needed to earn a living so that they can continue to go to school. And my mum will always find them and ask for their parents' phone numbers. I remember how panicky they looked like when my mum called them up, because thinking that they would be in trouble. But my mum did that so that my mum could contact their parents and then offer free tuition for them. And it was absolutely free. Just so that they are given a chance, an opportunity to become a better person and to really upgrade their standard of living. And to me, it is in those very moments which teach me that when we give a lending hand to someone, one way or another, it will enrich us back. Because that's Malaysia. Our lives are interconnected with one another. We may have not seen each other, know each other on a personal basis, but if you become a productive member of society, you get a good job, one way or another, that level of benefit will also benefit me. But if you suffer through hardship, then that suffering will also be felt by me indirectly. So I think that memory is still very fresh and vivid in my mind. And I love my mom for doing what she did. And I want to dedicate my life to public service to make this country a great country for all Malaysians.
Your mom, what is she doing now? Just wondering.
She just retired. She's a two-time cancer survivor. So I think she's taking a little bit of time off. I've been asking her to take time off because I think I got this level of workaholism from my mom because she doesn't like to take time off despite retiring as a teacher, and that's compulsory retirement. It's not that optional. She wanted to teach, but I think at that time she couldn't. So and then she wanted to cook. She started up her own small business, and then at the same time, I know she still wants to run this part-time tuition, which I think is done. I think she should rest, enjoy, spend time with the family, if possible, travel the world. Even though I'm not able to join her all the time because of my commitments, but I think she has earned her retirement, and I hope, especially being a cancer survivor, she would at least enjoy the remaining of her life.
Just wondering, your dad, has he influenced you in any way?
Definitely. My dad is a lot quieter compared to my mom, but he's a hard worker. And some of my earliest memories with him is that my mom is a teacher, but my dad was a labourer. And then commuting from Johor to Singapore every day was a painful experience, right? I mean, you'd have to wake up as early as 4 a.m. before subuh to get ready and then eat solat and immediately cross the causeway. And if you had crossed the causeway then, traffic was horrendous. I mean, it's the busiest land crossing in the world. About 300 to 400,000 Malaysians commuting every single day. So you'll be stuck in about 1 or 2 hours of traffic. And this is my father either taking public transport via the bus until only at the later part of his career did he afford a small mini Picanto. It's very small. I think it was Kia Picanto.
Yeah, Kia.
Because to get a car in Singapore is ridiculously expensive.
You got a car in Singapore?
Yeah, because he's a Singaporean.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So but he stayed in Johor. But I see the level of diligence and hard work he put in is unbelievable. I mean, and he'll only come back late night at times, even during midnight, and then that cycle continues. And working in a labour-intensive job is tough. Then the Singaporean job market was not as stable as it is today. I've seen my father jump from one job to another because of the unstable job market. But I know that his heart is in building a good family. I mean, my mom is call it the main breadwinner of the family. But then, even if you earn a decent amount of Sing dollars, you convert it to ringgit, it is a decent amount. But one thing about my dad is that I know he never gives up. He loves the family. He's ridiculously hardworking. I think it is those good moral values which shape who I am today.
Awesome. All right. You had, even though your parents were not like, famous, they were really like working class people, and I think they imparted the values to you. So in a way, you can relate to the working people, working class you guys. So that's really awesome, lah.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself privileged, not in a way where I have rich parents, but I have parents with rich values. And again, material wealth is temporary, but good values often last decades. And I am forever privileged to have the best parents in the world.
Great quote. I love that quote. Okay. My parent was also, my dad was an ambassador actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So in a way we were.
So you must have traveled a lot then.
Yeah. In my early years lah.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though government servant gaji, government, the niat, the hati is a little bit more different.
Yeah.
My dad was not so much into the money. He was more into like, okay, as long as we help Malaysia, help people. Yeah. He passed away already though.
I'm
after
sorry
retirement.
to hear
so
that.
I just hope he passed 1 year after his retirement. So I hope your mom can enjoy lah much more longer. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really sorry to hear that.
No worries. Yeah. Okay. So like, was there a specific moment, or was it where you wanted to pursue a career in politics? Does it go back to the Caltex punya scene?
I mean, that's more on public service. I've always set my life in the direction of public service, but not necessarily politics. That's why my first career option was to become a lecturer. And I enjoyed teaching. I mean, some of my best memories were before I joined frontline politics. then, even when I was in studying, completing my law degree, if you ask my lecturers, they'll say I'll rarely be in class. It's not because I punting, because then I was selected not only to join some of the most prestigious international debating competitions, but selected to become the youngest lecturer. So I was able to travel more than 20 to 25 countries to teach in all different regions. When I go to South Africa, it's not Johannesburg and Cape Town, it's like Limpopo. And then every year in November for 1 month, I'll be in the UK and then traveling around Europe. I'll be in different parts of China, I'll be in Taiwan, and then back to Qatar. So I've had some of the best memories because these are occasions where I can teach, not just teach Malaysians, but I can see how different countries are progressing, especially when it comes to their education model, where they stress a lot on soft skills, public speaking, critical thinking. I can also meet up with different groups of people who I never have the privilege to meet up unless I was a teacher. And yet at the same time, still complete my law degree, and at the same time, do multiple different jobs. I was then a researcher, I was an officer to a minister. At one point in time, I had 6 different income streams while studying and managing it all together, because I set a goal that when I'm in university, I do not want to be a financial burden on my parents. So I remember immediately when I got into university, not even degree, just foundation. And that was in PJ, CFS IIUM. I think now they moved PJ to Gombak. Then they actually disallowed part-time teaching. I mean, they have all the fence gates, they have, very strict curfew. But me being the rascal and delinquent I am, I said, no, I do not want to be a financial burden. Then I got an offer to become a part-time tutor to teach young ones, tuition, like my mom. It was far away. I remember there was in Shah Alam, and then one more was in Gombak, so it's like quite far away. So then I rented this, I remember it was a red canary, second-hand red canary. But again, in my foundation, you cannot own a car. So I illegally parked it outside. There's a spot where you will not get summoned. And then every time after class, I'll jump the fence.
I see.
I kid you not. And it was not an easy fence to jump, mind you. But I think I was relatively athletic. Jump the fence, walk to the car, and then go teach tuition, come back at about midnight. And it was my first job. And it was a decent pay. And then after that, I got another offer to teach debating at TKC, Tunku Kursia College. And TKC then was far away. It was in Seremban. It was about 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Oh my God.
Again, this is not me driving a fast car. It's me driving a second-hand canary, which is really old. After 80 kilometers an hour, the canary starts to shake. Okay? It wasn't well paid. It was only 25 ringgit an hour. And mind you,
I was just going to ask, is it worth it actually, the whole commute?
But it's worth it because first, I'm able to teach one of the best schools in Malaysia. And the students I was teaching were remarkable. I mean, they are some of the smartest, brightest. The school had some of the smartest, brightest people I've had the privilege of teaching. I mean, TKC is just amazing. So in a way, it's also teaching myself. I think the experience to me is a lot more worth it than the financial gain I could get. But that in a way shaped who I am today. So, and then many other doors of opportunities started to open up. Remember, from TKC 25 ringgit an hour to teaching KTJ, College Tunku Jaafar, 400 ringgit an hour.
Wow.
Which is more than what a full-time lecturer would earn per hour.
Yeah.
And then what more, being able to teach abroad where they pay in US dollars.
Wow.
But that created the passion in public service, in teaching, which then I think got me interested in politics. But as I shared at the beginning, it was never frontline politics, not to be an MP, a minister.
Yeah.
Then was to assist on policy making. So that's where I was very lucky. I was able to work together with then MB Khalid Nordin, who today is the Minister of Defence, then the Chief Minister of Johor, to be placed under his think tank, and then to work with then the former Minister of Law, YB Nancy Shukri, who today is the Minister of Women's Affairs. And it was a remarkable experience. I mean, these two people are people who I look up to. I mean, despite the fact today that we are on different political spectrums, but the level of respect is built because I know who they are. They are people who have their eye on the job, interest in the country, and will always put the country first.
I see.
And at the same time, they actually don't play a lot of politics. They actually, I mean, there are a lot more civil servants than politicians, I would say. and I greatly value that. It was only after when I jumped into frontline politics.
Got it. We were just the next question is actually about who you look up to. So,
Yeah.
like, who were your biggest influences or mentors growing up,
Yeah.
and how did they impact your path? I mean, we know for sure your mom, your dad.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few current
Yeah.
ministers as well. Is there
I
anyone
mean,
else?
I had different phases of my. I mean, obviously until today, I still have great respect to all these individuals, but different phases of life obviously have. I have the privilege to have different mentors. Obviously, when I was much younger, it will definitely be my mum and my dad. My uncle played a very important role as well, who then was working for Malaysia Airlines, and this was when I was way younger. Only through him was I able to see the world. You know, if you have a family member who works for Malaysia Airlines, you get the discount ticket. I think it's
Yeah.
only like 10% or something.
Yeah,
So the
that's
first time I was able to travel, I was able to go to India, not just to India, go to Kashmir when it was still a highly disputed war zone. But yeah, so I mean, different parts of my life I had different sources of inspiration, and then obviously when I was in university, I looked up to many debaters, especially in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard. Then one of the grandsons of Lee Kuan Yew, his name is Lee Sheng Wu, who now I believe is lecturing one of the Ivy Leagues in the United States. Because he was one of the greatest debaters, and at the same time also have very strong moral values, who I value a lot. Victor Finkel, this great guy from Monash University. So then during my debate career, I had like different sources of inspiration. A lot of my friends in NUS, Imran, and many others. And then when I got into politics, that's where Nancy Shukri, Khairi Jamaluddin, Khalid Nordin played a very important role. And then when I moved to frontline politics, then it was Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, who played a very big role, especially as we were shaping up the party. Bersatu then. So it was progressive throughout. And one thing which I can say is that while some of these people, which I've named, could be very controversial in some eyes of the public, but often they will always be that layer of good values. For an example, when it comes to Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, I've never met someone who is more hardworking. When I say hardworking, like he is so driven when he has his eye on something. You may not agree with what he has his eye on. I may disagree on that particular value. However, he is remarkably determined and hardworking in achieving his objective. Different people may have different objectives, but that's one.
I just heard he was driving a Proton, the latest Proton. He was driving it at the age of 88 or something. Yeah.
No, he does that. Why 88? Now he's 99. 99, he's still driving.
Yeah.
I mean, today he's in court.
Yeah.
At 99, I was watching, my God, this guy. I mean, if I could be that healthy at 99, I'd be very happy.
Right,
But I can tell you he's also very privileged because he has the most supportive, wonderful, brilliant, exceptional partner, which is in Tun Doctor City.
I agree. Yeah.
And yeah, I think they need one another.
Funny, we're talking about his wife, but she is the perfect first lady, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't grab the attention,
Yeah.
a bit in the background, but also very well presented, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so she doesn't want the attention.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one thing which I'm set in life is that one of the most important decisions I'll have to make is selecting my partner. And one thing which I learned in politics, at times this is the most important decision which will make or break your career, because it's not just about your career, it's also about your mental sanity, your physical
well-being,
everything. Actually, is largely contingent on having a strong partner.
We're gonna come a bit later there, like who will be your first lady if it ever comes to that. But we'll get that later.
That will be a question which which unfortunately I have to Okay.
So okay, moving to the next topic about your political journey.
Yeah.
As a young politician, what were the biggest challenges you faced as a young politician, and how did you navigate them?
There are a few. Again, different leaders will have different sets of challenges. For myself, at the beginning, was that sense of reluctance to even join. Because before I joined frontline politics, I was relatively comfortable. I was working 5 or 6 different jobs. I was earning very good salaries. I had the comfort of my own private life. and privacy. I could travel the world. And at the same time, it was also a time where I got 2 offers to Oxford University with scholarship in 2017 and 2018. So it was not easy to just throw myself in, what more full time. However, there will be in regardless of who we are, where we come from, there will be a time in our lives where we are confronted with tough decisions, whether it's about career, family, or moral decisions. For me, it's a collection of all. It's a tough moral decision, personal, family, career, all tied into one. But I always move back to what makes me who I am. I love public service. I gain great happiness when I see lives of Malaysians get better through good policy making, or through the smallest act of my me being a volunteer. I can assist one family. So in the smallest to the biggest of ways, for one family to millions. And
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge you faced as a young politician was the hesitant. You were hesitant to join, right?
yeah, it was a collection of that, especially when there's a lot of pressure behind it.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, there's with all the rewards or the risk of losing it, and the threats which come with it. Definitely.
How did you overcome that then?
Yeah. So again, it ties back to what makes me who I am and why I love this country.
I see.
And I know I want to be a proud public servant. If it's not politics, I want to teach. If it's not teaching, I want to be someone who can impact on policy making. But the point of the matter is, I know this country is destined to become a developed country in which will provide an abundance of opportunities to all Malaysians regardless of race, religion and gender.
Yep.
So I'm set on Malaysia becoming a developed country. And that's my goal. How I get to that goal may differ, right? So it was at that very moment where I knew that politics being the epicenter of power, and power, if used correctly, can be the best driving force for a country.
Agreed, yeah.
So, because Malaysia's political system is still very much hierarchical, we don't have the strong Western liberal democracy of strong democratic institutions, right? Our democratic DNA is still largely new, coming up. So, power defines everything. Power defines who become the generals, who get the contracts, who gets everything. So if you can correct that, I think Malaysia will achieve its destiny to become a developed country. So I knew I want that, and I'll do whatever it takes to get there.
Yep, and I fully support you on that as well. As a millennial now, we are a bit old now to be considered Gen Zs.
Yep.
When you first started, I mean, even when I first heard about you, I'm sure everyone, the politicians up there, they were like, "Eh, ni budak kecil je buat ni." So yeah, was that an issue you faced back then?
Of course, definitely. But I wouldn't call that the biggest barrier, because I believe, especially for young people, inevitably we will face many barriers when it comes to age in our lives. Especially as we climb up the social ladder. They'll ridicule us as being too young, imbecile, irrational. We are the strawberry generation. We can't take heat. We can't take pressure.
Yep.
Well, the best way to overcome those challenges is to prove them wrong with our actions and success. And for me, the more I get this kind of comments, I don't take it negatively. I turn it into a positive energy to just keep on propelling me forward, because I know that if I were to do nothing and to expect for others to open the door for me, it will never happen. So my solution to that, if you want to permanently close the door to young people, I will stand in front of the door, take a sledgehammer and bang that damn door open, right? I mean, it's either bang it open or I'll kick the door open. And if I fail, at least I leave a crack at the door and someone else who's younger will come and kick it open. So yeah, do not expect for opportunities to be provided on a silver platter. We have to fight for it, especially fight in areas where we believe in.
Hear that, Gen Zs? Good advice there. Then how did you handle the pressures of being a young politician and especially a young minister?
Yeah.
In Malaysia's history so far.
Few quick suggestions. One is, I think it's very important to have a very strong support system. I'll start with my own internal support system, because especially when you are trusted in the limelight, it will come with a lot of pressure. not just pressure in terms of public expectations, but also with threats. Especially, I mean, I spend a lot of time in opposition, and what more in the front lines. So there will be a lot of attempts to discredit, to attack, to take you down. The reason I'm not that affected is because I think I have a very strong support system internally. I know what I want. I know where I want to get my country to. And I'm also realistic enough to know that it will not be an easy struggle. I'm quite lucky. Compared to all the other leaders before me, including our Prime Minister today, Datuk Seri Anwar, he had to take decades, right? And I think he went through many personal sacrifices. I have some parts which I disagree with him, but that's on policies. I think personal, no. To deny that he went through a lot of personal sacrifices is unjust. He went through many personal sacrifices. So, yeah, I'm relative to them, I'm quite lucky. So whenever I think about it, as long as I know my heart is in the right place and that I'm moving even an inch forward in making Malaysia a developed country, I know I'm at home. So I think that's one. Having that very strong personal moral system, which will give you the energy and the grit to keep on moving forward. And grit is a very important word. It's not just about perseverance, but it's perseverance with a purpose. And I think I have that level of grit. Second, a very strong external support system. And this is where family plays an important role. That's why politicians cannot become robots. They need to have a life. And I'm very happy because I have ridiculously supportive family. I have the best parents ever, my siblings. I have the best of friends around me, not just friends who are there for me when I'm at the top. No, these are friends who are there with me even before I join politics, right? Who I can still meet up today. Do not talk about politics. Just enjoy, talk, what to say, a very bad word. But yeah, I mean, just enjoy, right? Proper, meaningful conversations which are non-judgmental.
Yeah.
So that's two. Final part I'd like to share is being physically and mentally fit also assists in dealing with the stress. So that's where today, I mean, I feel very happy. For example, before this session, I'm able to go for my 10 kilometer run, and then I feel very relaxed, starting the day early, mentally and physically fit.
Is that your routine, your physical routine every day?
I have a very strict physical and mental routine, which I carried out.
Could you tell us about it?
Very quickly, so divide into two, right? Okay, just very quickly for friends who are watching, 3 things are very important for happiness. This is not me, Syed Saddiq, saying. These are things which are tried, tested, peer-reviewed research. Just look it up. Number 1 is physical health, and this is true fitness. I'll explain it later, what it all mean. 2 is meaningful connections. Meaningful connections is not just, having hi, hello, bye-bye. No, it's like either with your girlfriend or partner or with your family members, like meaningful connections, which will strengthen your inner system. And finally, a great sense of purpose, that you are making a difference. It doesn't have to be in politics, that you are making a difference in your office, in your work life, etc. So these 3 things are very important. Okay, very quickly, I'll start with my mental routine, right? Every morning when I wake up, I'll immediately go to the toilet. People question why I spend a lot of time in the toilet. It's not because, I don't know why, it's just like my mental solitude where while I'm doing my own business in the toilet, also start reading a lot. Yeah. I'll go on BBC, Al Jazeera, so all my international news in the morning, toilet. And then take my wudu, everything, and then pray. And after prayers, I'll immediately start either one of the 3 sports, either swimming, cycling, or running. And this is before office hours. So I usually wake up really early at about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. So it's either one of the 3. So I read a lot and a little bit of exercise. And at the same time, immediately when work time starts, where I do a lot of research is here on my table. I have my stand-up table thing. So I read all my newspapers on it, so I don't sit down. I stand up while reading. And then even while I'm running, I'll listen to my podcast, which is of an Economist audio magazine.
Which is going to ask you, the intelligence unit, right?
No, intelligence unit is very short. They have the Economist Espresso, which is daily.
I see.
Intelligence unit, short articles. Yeah. But this is the Economist audio. I mean, it's the magazine which comes out weekly, but there's the audio version. So it's quite long. It's about 13 hours.
Oh yeah. So the cycling, swimming, and running. How many kilometers?
Depends. So you do your long runs or long bike on the weekends, but for me, because my weekends are where I work the most, especially my constituency, so I move that on weekdays.
I see.
Yeah. And it's best when I do it with friends. If not, it gets very boring. So I also adapt with my friend's schedule as well.
Yeah.
But the aim is every week in terms of sports to get in about 10 to 14 hours. Where I don't feel that well. For example, last week I'll aim 7 hours minimum.
Yeah.
But the mental routine is something which I carried out no matter how sick I am. I'll do it all the time.
Yeah, this is interesting actually.
And it is a lot. I mean, I read a lot, not just physical books, but when I run, even when I swim, when I bike, and it will take a long time. Instead of you just physically enriching yourself, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't just watch, random reality TV shows. No,
Yeah.
a lot of podcasts. So it's not just finishing The Economist audio, which is about 13 hours a week. I always put it on times 2, so it'll be
correct,
much
yeah.
faster. At the same time, I listen to a lot of podcasts, Diary of the CEO, Keluar Sekejap, Jay Shetty, and many others. So I just keep on processing information to make myself a better person. So yeah, at night time, I must do at least 1 or 2 proper research. And this is not the skim through news. This is where, for example, the government will be proposing next parliament sitting this bill called the Urban Renewal Act, which is not the Urban Renewal Act, it's called Akta Rampas Rumah, where effectively if big rich tycoons want to take over public housing, back then you need to get the consensus decision from all the owners. These are not people who rent, owners of the housing. Now you don't need to get the consensus. You can reduce it to only 8 out of 10. Which I think will do a great injustice. But yeah, I mean, so it's not just me reading news. I'll do research about it, look at different models, Singapore, UK, US, how do they do it, where are the failures, why is Malaysia different, etc., etc. Point I'm trying to make is, this is my schedule. My schedule may be very different than others, but I've done this actually even before I joined politics. Since I was a debater, as a debater, you must
a lot
be
of research, kan?
yeah, you have to do, because when you enter the debate competition, a topic is given, you're only given 15 minutes to prepare. And if you don't know about it, bye-bye, right? So one way or another, you have to be a walking Wikipedia, and I love reading. So it's a schedule which I carry up to today. But why I think I can do it better today, back then, I mean, internet access was not as rampant as it is today, but secondarily, back then, you don't have the best of podcasts like today. And thirdly, back then, everything is so manual and physical, right? I had the physical Economist magazine, which is very expensive to buy.
Yeah.
But today, I can subscribe, and I can finish it in 1 or 2 days only. Yeah. So
I used to get it for free from my dad, the embassy, right? We get it
yeah.
copy every day. I used to read it all the time. I loved it when I was young.
I have a secret. Even when I was, never mind, I can say this. I think I did a lot to IIU, they will forgive me. Even when I was serving as a minister, I was still using my same IIUM debate account before, Up until, even when I moved from government opposition, I was still using until suddenly I realized, I was locked out. I think they stopped renewing the subscription. Yeah. And then only then I had to subscribe my own.
Hey, but what do you do with the magazines? So I've given away all tau.
No, now everything is audio.
Audio.
Now everything for me is audio.
All right.
Yeah, you can just subscribe to The Economist online, and then you download the whole magazine. It's about 13 hours or 9 to 13 hours per magazine. Yeah.
Then what time do you sleep then, roughly? And do you still game?
No, I wish. Back then I gamed a lot.
Like, what were we playing?
Oh, a lot. Dota was where I was most addicted. Where I was best at is actually strategy games, like Command Conquer General Zero Hour.
Oh, okay.
I was really damn good at it.
My dad likes playing that as well. I like Red Alert.
Oh, I love Red Alert. Red Alert was the beginning, but then it upgraded to Command Conquer General Zero Hour. Yeah, so I was damn good at it. And then back then there was Ragnarok, there's RYL, there's what else? I mean, man, I was playing so many different, there's Modern Warfare, there's Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
I was playing all different types. I mean, I was a game addict at one point in time when I was in primary school to high school, before I entered military college. I would tell my, because we'll go at night, because if not, we'll get caught by parents. So I'll tell my parents that I'm staying at my neighbor's house. My neighbor will tell his parents that I'm staying at my house. We'll meet halfway. We'll walk to the cyber cafe for 30 to 45 minutes because it's far away. And then we'll get to play for 10 hours from 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. for 10 ringgit. It's 10 hours for 10 ringgit.
Yeah.
And we never got caught at all. Because by the time we got back, if our parents asked, we went to the mamak to eat roti canai. Which technically we did eat roti canai, it's just that after the 10 hours of
correct.
video games. Yeah.
Now you're not playing anything lah.
Now, not in a while, except for example when friends invite me to play Dota. I still have a little bit of skills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and so what time do you sleep then?
I try my best to sleep before midnight.
Oh,
Because I have to
okay.
wake up early, I want to get at least 6 hours of sleep.
Oh,
Now, because
yeah.
I'm doing a lot more sports, I have to get at least 7 hours. So I try to mix it all together. So one strategy which I put out, because I travel to Johor a lot, to my constituency in Muar. So whenever I get into a moving car, I sleep immediately. So my friend will drive.
Uh-huh.
I'll sleep throughout the 2 hour trip.
Yeah, you save time lah from
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
So not just that, even when I go on short trips, for example, just like to another meeting, 30 minutes, I'll sleep in the car.
Okay,
So
alright.
that's a superpower. Yeah.
Any actually later on we're gonna ask you about hacks, but maybe we can mention any life hacks that you use. You've mentioned a few already,
Yeah.
the podcast and
Yeah.
the exercise.
I always believe in integrating work and personal life. Again, this is not something which everyone can do, but it's something which I've grown accustomed to so that I can save time. For an example, I shared to save a lot of time when it comes to reading, while I run, while I do sports, while even when I shower. Okay, I wear my, I forgot this
Is it
this
shocks?
Sunto. Yeah, back then was shocks, but now it's better Sunto
okay.
headphones because it's waterproof.
Mm.
So my God, today I can listen to like 4 or 5 1 hour podcasts a day, especially when I put times two. So times two is very important. But my suggestion, don't start with time two. Start with 1.25
Yeah.
and then 1.5, 1.75, and then now when I watch a movie, and this is something bad, when I watch a movie at the cinema,
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you so
So
slow?
slow, kan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
so used to put it on times two, right? Yeah. So I try to integrate everything together. For an example, for working out, um, someone always say I always have a bag with me. And I intentionally make my bag very heavy. Obviously, I have my makan-makan. I mean, I have my fruits inside. I have my water bottle. I have a lot of files, but it's very heavy. But it's intentionally heavy. Why? So that whenever I walk, that becomes my dumbbell. Yeah.
Mm.
You will see, this is my, I have a lot of workstations at this house, but when I do work here, when I'm doing my reading, every 20 minutes, I'll stop reading and I'll quickly just go out. I have my mini gym. It's not a gym. It's just, yeah. So for me to do my pull-ups, sit-ups and everything there.
Yeah, I was just wondering because you did all this cycling, swimming, running, but that doesn't develop the upper body. You're
Correct.
quite jacked, actually.
No, I'm okay.
I mean, well, your tone lah.
Because I include that every day. So instead of going to the gym,
Yeah.
going to the gym, you have to drive there, and then you have to drive to
Appreciate.
get ready, and then you do everything, and you go back.
Yeah.
You already waste a lot of time. For me, literally every day,
Yeah.
I know every day I'll read. Right, every day I will have time to read here. So every 20 minutes I'll go out. I have my sets there, and I come back in. It's not like I do it for like 10 minutes. Actually, only 5 minutes, but very intensive.
I see.
Come back in, tune into reading,
I see.
and then after that go back out and come back
see.
in. Yeah.
Oh, you
I always
interchange.
integrate. Yeah, always integrate.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So that I enrich myself physically and mentally.
Yeah.
That's how I.
Is
yeah.
it mostly upper body?
Because running, cycling,
So the
swimming,
cardio,
yeah,
so,
already
yeah.
covers a lot of cardio.
I see. Okay, all right. That is interesting. Okay. So we're going now into one question before we jump to the next section. Was there any pivotal moment in your political career that significantly changed your perspective?
Oh, a lot. When it comes to personal sacrifice, was much earlier when I had to let go of my life dream to pursue my masters in Oxford, because it came with scholarship, and coming from a working class family, if I had not gotten that scholarship, I'd never be able to go. And I knew when I let it go, it was a very tough decision, because that 2 scholarships combined is 1 million ringgit.
Oh my god.
And mind you, this came at a time where opposition never won any general elections ever. But I knew where my heart was at. 2020 was also very tough. Then I was already serving as a minister. My party was split. I knew the easy way is just to, defer, accept, keep my ministerial position. Then you get all the perks in life. You will never be threatened. You will be in a good position. But I knew deep down that doesn't gel with who I am. I always like to speak my mind, no matter how difficult and painful it may be. And I like to fight for the Malaysia which I believe in, which is the most important part of my life today. So yeah, I mean, that was tough. It is still affecting me until today. But do I regret it? No. Because I know it has made me a better person. It is through those tough experiences which have made me who I am today.
The next section is visions and beliefs. So what is your vision for the future of Malaysia? And what role do you see yourself playing in it? I know that you see yourself as a driving force. But yeah, maybe you want to talk about your vision for the future of Malaysia?
I believe Malaysia is destined to become a developed country. Not only are we blessed with the best of natural resources, but we have some of the brightest people in Malaysia who are diligent, hardworking. We have a very educated workforce which speaks 3 different languages or minimum being bilingual, which is a huge asset for our country. We have one of the most hardworking populations and a decently strong democratic foundation. But yet we are still stuck in the middle. We are neither a failed state nor are we a developed country. While you look at countries who were once our peers, whether it's the likes of Singapore, Taiwan, South Korea, today are a full-fledged developed country with strong democratic foundations, which are rich. They are what? Per capita, they are 10 times richer than us, which means that one Singaporean is equivalent to 10 Malaysians when it comes to wealth. But more importantly, I think we can get there. And that's the frustration. So I really want Malaysia to be a land of opportunities. What does that mean? Regardless of who you are, which race, religion, gender you are born into, as long as you have the grit, the intellect, that opportunity at the beginning, which is provided by the country, will be fair and equitable, and then it's all up to you.
Yep.
That's the point is, it doesn't matter whether you are born in a rich family or you're born in a poor family, your ability to climb up the social ladder after will be equal. Not when it comes to equal outcomes. No, that's unfair actually. But it's about equal opportunities at the beginning. And I want to build a Malaysia in which strengthens that framework. Above and beyond that, I also want to see Malaysia become a regional, I wouldn't say superpower, but a respectable force. If you look back then, right, 20 years ago, Malaysia was the focal point in Southeast Asia. When the president of the United States, UK, whoever, want to visit Southeast Asia, Malaysia will be one of the first countries they come.
Yep.
All right? Today, just look, Biden. I won't talk much about Biden, but then Biden, right? He has met up with all the presidents and prime ministers, including those who are non-democratic in this region, but overlook Malaysia, right? Singapore, Sian Long then, done. Jokowi, done. Even the former Prime Minister of Thailand, who now has been kicked out, done. Vietnam, twice. Marcos Jr., twice. Malaysia, 0. Right? There's no one-to-one meeting. I don't blame Datuk Seri Anwar. This is not about Datuk Seri Anwar. This is about the positioning of Malaysia, right? And then this has happened for a while. So I think this must change. Because, in order for us to become a developed country, it also comes with some level of diplomatic force behind it. A respectable force. And I want that to happen. But personally as well, as a Muslim, I want to see Malaysia be regarded as the first properly democratic, successful, Muslim majority developed country in the world. Right? If you look at others, I will not comment about their flaws, but in Malaysia, we have all the success stories combined. Right? You want to talk about advancing Islam and the religion, the best way is to show that we are the best when it comes to the advancements of science, technology. We have the best public transportation. Our public education system is top-notch, top 10 in the world. We are the least, we are the country most allergic to corruption. We have a very strong democratic foundation so that whenever people look at a Muslim majority country which can be successful is Malaysia. Today, the very same countries who once looked at us, today are no longer looking at us. The West today look at UAE. Saudi Arabia and others who back then used Malaysia as a model of success. I think these are fundamental questions which we need to ask. And I understand there will be sensitivities of Muslims saying, oh no, UAE and Saudi, they've changed, they've moved their path, they're no longer Islamic. Point of the matter is, when they speak, the world listens. When we speak, do the world listen? That's something which we need to ponder.
So moving forward, what are the key issues that Malaysia should focus on or we need to address, and how do you propose we tackle them?
To reach my goal number 2, number 3, which is regionally and positioning Malaysia globally, we need to strengthen ourselves internally first. As I shared, I'm a fundamental believer in strengthening institutions in Malaysia because I believe that institutions will outlast political personalities and hyper-partisanship. That is the recipe of a developed country, the most important ingredient. For example, when you have a strong, independent parliament, police, civil service, anti-corruption unit, LHDN, whoever is in government, Malaysia will be on a strong footing to move forward. So I think building that strong foundation, which is built on strong institutions, are ridiculously important. And there, when you correct that, I believe naturally Malaysia will come up with the best education system, public transportation, public service, which in the end will open up the land, will open up opportunities via meritocracy. So I think it's about really moving on an institutional basis. Today, I think it's very much personality centered, hyper partisanship as well, which I think hinders our progress. I mean, I can go on a whole rant about this on how problematic the system is, which only caters to a very small group of people at the top, and that whoever wins elections will have to cater to the small group of people. But there will be another long conversation. But I think it's about reforming the whole system, top to bottom.
Okay, all right. Now that you're getting a little more public scrutiny in light of your, court case and whatnot, how do you stay grounded and maintain your authenticity?
I mean, just be yourself. I mean, that's why I keep on reminding myself why I joined politics. If I joined politics for wealth or for power, I wouldn't last this long. I mean, if it's for power, I would have just stood by in 2020, maintain my ministerial position, be very comfortable. But that's not who I am. If it's about money, heck, I mean, from the very beginning, I was already comfortable even before I joined politics. I was earning, 5, 6 different salaries. When I joined politics, heck, when I was in the ministry, I had access to 1 billion of funds. Until today, in the end, they couldn't find a single cent of corruption. They had to look at internal party issues, which happened even before I joined, even before I became an MP. But I know what I want. And I think morally, I'm very comfortable with what I want.
Yeah.
But how I remain grounded, I'm quite lucky to have a good family, friends, support structure, which always keep me grounded.
And how do you handle failures, and setbacks? Personally and professionally. Especially not professionally, you had a very challenging time as well. Of course, we always have the highs and lows, kan?
Yeah.
So how do you handle failures and setbacks then?
Because there's always tomorrow.
I see.
I mean, life will hand you a lot of problems, and I've faced a lot in my life. But I'm also humbled to know that there are many others before me who have gone through hell, worse versions of hell than I have, and they've survived. At the same time, I'm also privileged enough to know that I'm in a position to bring that change. And when you are in that position and you can't stand the heat, then get the hell out of the kitchen. I will not get out of the kitchen no matter how hot it is, because I think my values are set in what I want to do, and that sacrifices are just part and parcel of that journey to make Malaysia a developed country. If anything, it prepares me to become a better leader with grit, so that when I'm there, I know what to correct.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the next section. We know that you really have this what was one looking for, drive to help improve Malaysia. But what does personal success means to you outside your political and public service achievements?
Sorry,
What does personal success look like to you outside of your political and public service achievements? For me, for example, besides my success in my career, I would see my personal success would be like, okay, at least is my dad and mom, my mother happy about me?
Oh, okay.
Am I like a good Muslim? Am I taking care of my health?
Yeah.
That's my metrics of personal success. So, what does personal success look outside of your career achievements look like? Oh, sorry. What does it mean to you? Yeah.
I always ask myself, do I feel happy? And happiness is not just defined based on that very moment and day. It's quite a wholesome metrics, physically, mentally. Do I have a good social support structure? And often the answer is yes. Even in the darkest of days, I think that's one important metric which I hold closely to myself. Secondly, I always ask myself, are the actions which I'm doing today about to leave a positive impact, so that bare minimum, even when I leave this world, I know that in the smallest of ways, the generation after me will be slightly better, even marginally, but at least it's better, not worse off. That's second. Third, which is slightly slightly a lot more personal, is am I a better person? What do I mean by am I a better person? Am I kinder? Am I more compassionate? Do I care more about what's happening around me, or am I so desensitized to a point that I close my eyes, ears, and heart to problems around me? Which also ties in together with, because in order for me to have that kind of feeling, am I more knowledgeable? And that I care a lot about. So like, I mean, some may call it petty, but like how many books, how many documentaries, how many podcasts, like what new knowledge have I learned which I did not know before? What have I learned today? Before I go to bed, I ask myself, what's something new which I've learned today? For an example, just through this morning run, which is about 10 km, which is not long, like I learned many new skill sets. For an example, one small point which I'll start applying in my daily life when you're about to go to bed, one, always have a sense of gratitude. So list down all the good things which have happened today, because even no matter how bad the day is, there will be something good.
Yep.
And instead of framing the bad issues or what are the bad things which have happened today, don't frame it that way. Instead, frame it as what can I do better tomorrow. So these are small things, but every day I'm learning new things. I'm improving my daily schedule so that I can become a better person.
Yeah, the gratitude journal really helps. I've read.
Yeah,
I've read
that's the word,
about it.
gratitude journal.
Yeah. Okay, and like, can you share a book, a quote, or an experience that has influenced your life or career? Like for me, it's oh my god, I have a lot. You know, the usual carpe diem, memento mori,
Okay.
and of course, when my father passed away, it also. Yes, I was depressed for a few years, but then it made me realize, okay, you know what is my legacy after that? What am I leaving behind? The stories I'm helping Malaysians or whatnot. Yeah, so like, for you, was there any book, quote, or experience that, has influenced your life?
A lot. If it's a book, I love the late Lee Kuan Yew's autobiography. Also like Tun Dr. Mahathir's Doctor in the House, Obama's Audacity of Hope. I mean, there's actually a lot. If it's fiction, it will be Khalid Hosseini, The Kite Runner. Actually, no, I think Khalid Hosseini as well, but the other book, A Thousand Splendid Suns.
Yeah. I haven't
I
read
love
it
it.
yet. Forever in my to-read list, haven't read it yet.
You have to. I mean, I never love reading fiction, but Khalid Hosseini changed my perspective
Have
on
you seen
fiction.
the movie though?
The Kite Runner.
Yeah, have you
Yes,
seen
I
the
have.
movie? Oh,
Yeah.
right.
The book is so much better, but the movie is still tear-jerking lah.
Okay.
If it's a quote, back then I always loved this quote, which is it's very simple Malay quote, which is di mana ada kemahuan di situ ada jalan. When there's a will, there's a way. But to personalize that into politics, there's this quote by the late Lee Kuan Yew as well. Johorian next to Singapore. I see what Malaysia can be if we do remarkably well or work hard. There's this line there's this speech which he gave when he was dealing with the protests among pilots at the Singapore Airlines then were protesting. And he said that whoever wants to govern Singapore will need to have the iron in them or just give it up. And to me, that's a very strong quote. If you contextualize it in Malaysia, it's very much tougher. Because Malaysia is highly multiracial, multi-religious, collection of different states through a federation, what more with entities like Sabah and Sarawak. So if you need to have the iron in you in Singapore and Malaysia, you need to have titanium in you, you know. So yeah, that's a quote.
There's another. I study international relations with French, and there's a term where there's an iron fist.
Yeah.
But we need an iron fist with a velvet glove.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a very
It's a U.S. president or Russian president. One of them used that word last time.
Yeah.
Especially in Malaysia, yes, we need the iron fist, but you also need it with a velvet touch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and let's move on to the next category. Can you share a story of a constituent or an experience that deeply moved you and reinforced your commitment to public service?
Oh, it's a lot. One which I vividly remember was before I spearheaded the Satu Keluarga Satu Laptop project in Muar. it came about when I was going house to house, and I don't like this typical, the typical politician thing to do is that you gather a lot of people and you start giving aid. You expect them to come to you instead of you going to them. You won't get the true stories, but more importantly, you won't get proper conversations with them if it's a large setting. So even when I was elected during my first term, I like going door to door. That's where you get to hear their stories. And during times of COVID, one of the houses which I did visit, which was in Sungai Balang, it was a big family, very poor household, and the father was the only one working. Got 6 kids, 5 or 6 kids then. And then when the father left, the father was the only one who had a smartphone with him. So when he left, he had to leave that smartphone at home, which is the only medium of communication for his job, family to him, boss to him, just so that the sons and daughters can attend online education because it was COVID. Schools were closed. And I thought that was tear-jerking because, man, number one is that's so much sacrifice from family, from the father, and it shows how underprivileged the family is.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, I'm going to find a way to ensure that they get laptops and tablets.
Yeah. Everyone was scrambling for those kind, yeah.
Yep. And there was a time where, mind you, I was in opposition. I had no allocations, 0 allocations. So it is through that story which I realized, okay, I have to start thinking out of the box to resolve their problems. And that's why I did, the Botak Challenge. I was teaching tuition online. More than 1,000 students joined in. I was selling lasagna. I went on Shopee to sell kurta. But we raised, 2 million plus? We were able, despite not getting allocation from government, had handed out more than 2,200 quality laptops and tablets, 30,000 food bank, 200,000 ringgit worth of SSPN scholarships. I mean, despite being deprived of government funds, we dared to think of the box, and it originated from these personalized stories where I heard about what happened. I knew I needed to react and respond. So yeah.
That's a good story. Are you still in touch with that father? And
Yeah.
You're still in touch? Okay. Maybe one day I might want to interview him. There's a good
Sure.
story there. What have you learned about human nature through your work in politics?
Okay. In politics, you cannot generalize politics to represent everyone because often it's very different. Especially when you're in frontline politics, you start to realize that it's a whole different political animal. So one thing which I've learned is to take one thing at a time, one day at a time, and one person at a time. Because you cannot generalize everyone, especially in politics.
Okay, all right, let's keep it there. And we're going now to the future aspirations. The other question we already asked. So you already mentioned your goals for Malaysia, but for you yourself, your goal for the next few years, politically and personally?
I mean, it's combined, as I shared, politics, personal, because I practice
Integrated,
work-life
yeah,
integration,
yeah.
not separation. I know for a fact I want to become a better policymaker, and for me to achieve that, I have to take a lot of online courses, and I do want to complete my master's in public policy. So yeah, I hope I'm able to go to Oxford or Harvard to do that. I did it in Singapore already, in NUS. So that's one, because I believe I'll become a better policymaker. I do want to go back to teaching, whether it's part-time or not. I love teaching. It's part of my identity. It's part of my blood. And I want to go back to teaching. Politics, I have very clear goals of what policies I want to see in Malaysia. Whether I should be the driving force in front or not, may be very different. So I don't like to put a hard set goal of positions, but I like to put a hard set goal on policies. Because I can be part of a team which get those policies in. And I think that will already make me very happy. I mean, when I got Undi 18 automatic, and Undi 18, Undi automatic, and Calon 18, 3 constitutional amendments, which could only be passed with bipartisanship in Parliament, that was the happiest day of my life. It was the happiest day because I knew that through the small actions of mine, I'm able to lock in intergenerational change, which will shift the imbalance of power back in the hands of young people. That even when I leave, or even when I'm dead, young people will make up more than 55% of the electorate and will forever define the future of Malaysian politics.
Correct, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's combined. I want to do my full Ironman by this year. It's actually in October, that's what I'm preparing for. So there are a lot of things which I want to do when it comes to personal goals.
I can never do the Ironman. The swimming section will kill me already.
Actually, the swimming section, the shortest one, because
2 kilometers, right?
4. It's about
No,
3.8, but once you go on it, it's about 4 because you won't swim straight all the way. No, but that's actually not the toughest because swimming, even let's say, even if it's so slow, it'll be like 2 hours. But the cycling, 7 hours. Running full marathon after, it's like, yeah, and you have to save your legs. But I like the challenge. Like in politics, I also like to challenge myself personally.
And how do you want to remember it as a leader and as a person?
Just someone who's kind, compassionate, and who's able to move a generation and a country forward.
Okay. And what legacy do you hope to leave behind for the next generation of Malaysians?
Legacy sounds like a very strong word. I just want not just to be known, but personally, I want to know, and I can affirm to myself that I've left a Malaysia which is better off than my parents, and that my children will live a Malaysia which is better off than their parents.
Okay, all right. Any advice for young Malaysians who also want to make a change in the future?
I mean, change is not exclusive to politics and politicians only. It can be your own internal change. It can be change in your workforce or in your office. But just know this, that especially in this very archaic, traditional ASEAN kind of a culture, it may be tough for young people to climb up. And we cannot expect for opportunities to be handed to us on a silver platter. And to some extent, we are disadvantaged because we don't have the level of networking like those who are much older than us. We do not have the financial power like those who are much older than us. But what we do have today is that with a click, we can immediately get knowledge through the internet, through ChatGPT, name it. And at the same time, we are a generation who dare to think out of the box creatively, innovatively to achieve the same goal much faster, much better through our critical thinking. So knowing our advantages and disadvantages, we need to manage it properly. Screw the silver platter. When the doors are closed, you break it open. And I hope that we have that mindset. And that's where it ties back to the word grit. It is having perseverance with a strong determination and a vision of what we want. No matter what the vision of yours may be, I hope you have that level of grit to achieve it.
Okay, all right. The next set of questions will be short ones, just more of the fun questions. When you were younger, what did you actually want it to be?
A lot. I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to be an astronaut, I wanted to be a soldier, I wanted to be a teacher, lecturer, a lot of things. Being a young kid, as I am, very impressionable, I wanted to be everything.
Biggest regret in life?
Biggest regret? Oh my god, that's a tough question. I got a lot of regrets, but at the same time, will I go into a time machine and change it? No, because it makes me a better person. So let me think, what is the... I wish I could spend more time on myself. When I say on myself, then it's traveling, because I left all of that when I moved into frontline politics to go on a proper holiday. I have not been on a holiday more than 3 days or 4 days. Like, it's always like the 1 day, 2 days holidays. Yeah, so that I can find myself again. Also, I quite regret leaving teaching for a bit. Yeah.
Where would you go if you can have like a whole week to yourself, leave?
No, it doesn't have to be go abroad. You can just going to Sabah, Sarawak, going on an island and then just like being with myself, not thinking about work, just tuning off. That would be a very good break.
If you could change anything about your childhood or whatever it is when you were growing up, you just mentioned you didn't want to, but if you could change anything about your childhood, what would it be?
If I could change anything about my childhood, I would listen to my mom more when it comes to my academics, because I got that realization only after, like when I was in RMC. And yeah, I would do a lot more sports when I'm young.
Oh,
I only did sports much later.
yes.
Yeah, because I was asthmatic when I was young.
Oh,
Yeah, but I was very defeatist. Yeah, I was asthmatic, but I lost my asthma when I got into military college, and it kicked the asthma out of me. I could have done that earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
what is something that you've been recently struggling with, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, every week there's a new challenge, there's a new problem. But one which is tough is obviously my court case. But it was way earlier how I overcame it, and now I'm so settled with it. I mean, at such a comfortable place. Is I know why join politics, what's needed to be done to move forward, and the continuous realization that sacrifices are needed to make Malaysia a better country.
Right. What is your biggest trauma?
Biggest trauma. Oh.
For me, it was my dad passing away. But before that, we used to live in Kosovo, and it was a tough time because it was right after the war, and
Yeah.
I didn't have much friends, and the place, electricity tak ada, air tak ada. It was so hard living there.
Yeah.
I became emo. Like it was an emo phase. I had
Yeah.
a whole emo phase. So, yeah, I mean,
I mean, having some friends or those who I consider as my family as well, maybe not by blood, but by close proximity, not just betraying me, but lying through their teeth in front of my eyes at such a huge personal cost. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
okay. I was just gonna ask you, like, okay, is it like something money?
No,
related?
money is not the biggest issue for me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. This is a lot of the questions the girls have been asking me, like, when are you gonna get married?
Yeah, that's an issue which I will classify under the Official Secrets Act, and I shall not answer.
Oh yeah.
I can answer everything else, but let's leave my personal life private.
Okay, no worries. Most embarrassing moment.
I have a lot of embarrassing moments. My God, me not being able to dance, me not being able to sing. Got so many videos of those online. Yeah, I mean, I got too many. So it depends on which. Like, is it in politics? Is it out of politics? I have too many embarrassing
like
moments.
personal life lah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot lah. Yeah.
For me, I guess it would be okay. Actually, that's too personal.
Yeah.
Okay, tak
There you
apa.
go. See, it's hard to answer.
If you could be any animal, what would it? What would
Definitely
you
a cat. That's so easy to
Which one?
answer.
A cat.
A cat. Yeah.
Okay, thank God. Most Malaysians say eagle. I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay, that's very US centered, but yeah.
What song is on your Spotify playlist right now? Maybe you can show to the
A lot. I mean,
audience your top most played right now.
I don't listen to Spotify a lot. I just
The
listen to
podcast
YouTube a lot more.
I see.
Yeah, so I think it will be the podcast of the Diary of CEO
I see. If you
by
could,
Steve Bartlett. Yeah.
I see. If you could be anyone in the world, who would you be? Like, take
If I
over the
could be
place. Yeah.
anyone in the world, what would I'd be a lecturer at an Ivy League or one of the top universities, which would also have the freedom and flexibility to travel and influence policymakers.
Wow, I thought you were gonna
Yeah.
say the UN Secretary General or something like that. Yeah.
I want to go back to, I love teaching,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I love impacting policy making.
I see.
So it's a combination. And I know many well-regarded lecturers, for example, Kishore Mahbubani
Okay.
of Singapore. I mean, he served in the UN before as well, but he's known to be a well-regarded speaker, lecturer. At the same time, he also has access to top leaders across the world to impact on policy making.
Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superpower.
Changing minds, invisibility, time travel,
My God.
teleportation.
These are all questions which I'll never think of.
For me, it's time travel. So every time I make a mistake or say something wrong, I can
Hey,
go
no
back
lah.
in time. Yeah.
Okay, definitely for me, it's not time travel. I like learning from my mistakes. Okay. In the end, I go back to achieving my goal. I want to make Malaysia a developed country. So it's the ability to convince people.
Why convince when you can just mind control everyone, you know?
Okay, that's euphemism. Some call convince, some call mind control.
Okay. All right. Like Professor Xavier, like, kind of thing. Okay. Do you struggle with any mental health issues? If you're willing to like talk about it now?
Definitely.
You do? Oh, okay.
A lot. But how I address it is very different. I mean, back then is to go to a therapist. Today, I have my own therapist following me every day, which is via sports and podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What can you do one sharing? Like, what are you dealing with? Like, I'm diagnosed with ADHD.
Mm.
And I have this thing where I can become manic, very manic. There's one more, but that one I will reveal in another video. But yeah.
No, I have my own issues, but I rather focus on how to move forward, and I've shared that through this
and
podcast.
physical sports and your mental routine, all that helps
Yeah,
lah.
definitely.
Okay. This one I'll tell you straight interview. So next, if you can have dinner with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Oh, so if it's dead, it would be a lot. Obviously, it will be Prophet Muhammad, because, I mean, that's undeniable, the most influential person ever.
Kan, yeah.
Um,
I actually wanted to meet Nabi Muhammad and Jesus, Nabi Isa.
Hmm.
So we can both clarify, betul ke ni jadi, ni tu jadi, you know, because Islam and Christianity is
That's a
very
very
similar, right?
That's a very
Yeah.
interesting outlook. I didn't think about that. You said one person, so I thought only one lah. Yeah. Obviously, if it's those who are still living today, will be a lot of people. Barack Obama. Yeah, I mean, it will be a really, really long list of people.
Okay. Since your marathon, what are some other marketing stunts that I might do in the future?
I don't do marathon for marketing stunts, I can tell you for sure.
I mean,
As I shared, it's
fundraising,
very
yeah.
internal for me.
Any what other activities are you doing in the future? Anything else on your mind?
A lot, and you'll find out soon.
Okay, cool. All right, okay. So that's our like fun questions section. Last one is, what is your message to Malaysians out there watching this?
I hope in whatever capacity or roles you are in, you will not lose hope and faith in this beautiful country called Malaysia. And knowing that to make Malaysia a developed country, we should not just leave it to the hands of politicians, including myself, but is to take ownership of a country instead of allowing others to define what we want for our future. So it's either through voting, or through sharing the message, or through sharing your belief and hopes, criticizing, condemning, whatever it is, whatever way you may use. But I hope that we will always have that spirit to make Malaysia a better place.
Okay. Syed Saddiq, thank you so much for your time with Humans of KL. For the next podcast, who would you want to nominate?
Try to get Datuk Sri Anwar. I've never seen him do a podcast where he share about his life story.
Oh, so
Yeah.
interesting. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much. All right. Thank you for coming here on this video. And yes, we're trying this new thing where we do a heart sign at the end. Chenika, macam tu.
See, evidently I know better than you now. eh? Because I've been corrected so many times. I used to do like you, like this.
Yeah.
Like this.
Cheni, is it?
Yeah.
Cheni. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So okay, humans. What do we? No, tak apa lah.
Humans of KL.
Okay,
There you
one.
go.
Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, cakap 3, 2, 1.
Humans of KL.
Not really. It was more my mom. But
I see.
it's only because my dad, he kind of wanted the best for me in terms of how I live my life.
Yeah, understandable.
And he actually wanted me to do a degree in business,
I
which
see.
for me, like growing up with a family who's full of arts, I was kind of like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Business?